Okay, um, let me see. First time going live, so just trying to figure things out a little bit. Let's see if there's anyone that is joining before I start. Um, okay. Okay, so I'm just going to start with my story of how I started teaching in Thailand. To give you a little bit of a backstory, my name is Michaela and I'm from South Africa. I basically just wanted to, you know, travel and find a way to do that without having to break the bank. So initially, I did random jobs in different countries. I worked in France and the Netherlands and America, and then I went back to South Africa, and I was thinking, like, what should I do next? And I applied for a bunch of different things, and then Xplore got back to me and gave me the opportunity to come to Thailand and do the in-country TESOL course with them. So yeah, that's what I did. I went to Thailand with the expectation of maybe staying for 6 months or a year or something like that. And I ended up staying for 6 years. So clearly, I definitely really liked it. But yeah, the course that I did in Hua Hin in Thailand through Xplore was really amazing. I made very, very good friends in that time. People I'm still in contact with to this day. Yeah, I can highly recommend doing teaching abroad through a program like that. For me personally, if I were to have gone by myself, I wouldn't have had the same experience because, you meet people that are going through the same thing as you're going through, and you've got your support system when you start teaching, and you've got people to, basically just rely on and give you advice and to make you feel like you're not alone if you're, struggling to adapt to any of the cultural things or, a complete new lifestyle. So yeah, after the TESOL course I did with Xplore, I went to my first placement, which was in the south in Trang. So it's near Krabi. Very beautiful little place. Wasn't massive, so there was like, the normal shops, but if you wanted to do some serious shopping, you had to go to to a bigger city for that. But I really enjoyed it. It was, how should I say? It takes some getting used to. If you leave a country that, for example, South Africa or Europe or England or something, and you go to Thailand, it's completely different worlds. It can't really be compared. So you are going to, you are going to run into some circumstances or scenarios that is out of your comfort zone. But from my experience, you just kind of have to be as flexible as possible. If you go to Thailand, and that's, in your job as well. At my first school, for example, we never knew our schedule ahead of time. We had our classes that we had to teach. But if there was any sort of event, or for example, for sports day, they started practicing for the sports day about a month in advance. So every morning from straight after assembly, which would be 8 in the morning, until about 11, they were just practicing for sports day. And we didn't know how long that was going to go on. It ended up going on for a month. So sometimes you'll prepare and plan for classes and lessons, and things just don't go go as planned. But if you're flexible, then you're not going to be bothered with things like that. And same with meetings, and most school related things is very last minute, especially if there's not a lot of foreigners at the school. And at this school, we were about 5 foreigners in total teaching kindergarten. So yeah, we were not always well, communicated with. But like I said, if you're flexible, then it's not going to upset you. You just have to go with the flow. See, I've got one question here. Did you know any Thai before you went? I did not know any Thai before I went to Thailand. And I am generally quite good with learning new languages. But Thai was definitely the most difficult language to learn. Yeah, they've got so many different tones of, voice that will make one word have 5 different meanings. But I can't say after living there for 6 years, I was able to communicate efficiently in Thai. And I'd say I'm about, definitely not fluent, but different on, I can communicate with Thai people, just not in a professional capacity. But I definitely recommend, if you do go to Thailand and you want to truly immerse yourself in the culture, do try and pick up the language. It can be with little things, like if you go to the market, then ask the local people, pick up the vegetable and be like, what is this in Thai? If you use it in your daily life, it's so much easier to learn than just, opening a book or going on Duolingo or something like that. If you try and incorporate it into your everyday life, it makes learning the language so much easier. So I kind of just gave myself the goal of each week learning one new sentence. So how to ask for a specific food at a restaurant, for example, or I would ask my co-teachers at my school to tell me how to say a certain phrase to the students, like, for example, when the little kids come to ask if they can go to the bathroom, I ask the Thai teachers to, tell me how would they ask for that. Of course, when you're at school, you're not supposed to speak Thai with the kids. Mostly they would tell you that you should only speak English, but it definitely helps if you understand the Thai. And it can surprise the kids as well. So if they're talking amongst themselves and obviously discussing things in Thai and you know what they're saying, it's definitely going to give you an upper hand with, classroom management and things like that. And also just, connecting with the local people. I felt like when I approached the locals and I tried to say something in Thai, even though in most cases I was probably not saying it right, they appreciate the effort of, embracing their culture and trying at least to communicate in their language. And it can definitely take you far with becoming part of the community. It was quite easy to make friends, to be honest, foreign friends and local friends. So I became friends with, first of all, I became friends with the people from my course that I did in Hua Hin. And the girl that I was rooming with in Hua Hin ended up being placed in the same town as me, in Trang. So we got a place together and that was amazing. Yeah, that was really great. having someone that was, with me from the get-go. And then also making friends with the people at my school, when the local teachers also are very welcoming. And if they were to have invited me to go, for dinner or for lunch or for bubble tea after school or something, I'd always say yes, just to, open myself up to being able to make connections and to make friends. I'm not going to lie, sometimes it does feel, or it did feel, very uncomfortable if you're the only foreigner in a group of, I don't know, doesn't really matter how many, but like 5, 6 Thai people, and they don't speak English really well. At that point, I didn't understand any Thai, so it can feel uncomfortable, but it's a necessary discomfort that you have to go through in order to, make deep connections. I would definitely do it again if I was to go to Thailand from the beginning and do it all over again. Going through the uncomfortable situations and coming out of your shell and just putting yourself outside of your comfort zone. That's what it was all about for me, because, it makes you grow as a person so much. And that's also how I made a lot of friends there. I didn't stay in Trang for very long. I was there for 1 semester, and then the agency that I worked with placed me at a different school. So I moved from Trang to Bangkok at that point. And making the transition between Trang and Bangkok was also quite big, because I went from being in a, small-ish little town by the beach to being placed in a massive city, very fast-paced living. So that was quite a change of scenery. But I enjoyed Bangkok as well. I feel like wherever you are in Thailand, you can definitely find something in that area that works for you. So I love being in nature and going to the beach and being active, like going on hikes and things like that. So obviously in Bangkok, you don't really have that, but Pattaya is close by if you wanted to go away for a weekend, or Ayutthaya if you go north a little bit, to go explore the temples. And then there's also a really cool wake park in the south of Bangkok, where you can do stand-up paddling, wakeboarding, a bunch of stuff like that. And that also brings me to how important it is to make friends with local people. So I was swimming at I can't really remember exactly what kind of place it was, but it was like a restaurant vibe with a pool. And there was a Thai girl that was also swimming, and we just started chatting. And she was telling me about what she does for work. And she was working at a company that produces the wakeboards and stand-up paddle boards, and they, manufacture the boards for international companies and things like that. And she invited me to come to her place of work one day. So the next morning she picked me up at like six-ish or something, and I went to her office, you could say, with her. And it was so cool. So I got to see how they actually make the boards and everything. And being there that early, I was the first person there. So she gave me my stand-up paddling board, and I went into the lake, where they also do the wakeboarding and everything. But I was the only person there. And I almost had a heart attack, because I've never seen the massive Komodo dragons or lizards that they have in Thailand before. I knew that there's the lizards and stuff there, but I did not know how big they get. So I was paddling, and I was paddling against the side of the lake, and there's like thick reeds and things there. So I was just trying to, sightsee a little bit, and then something was moving in the bushes, and the giant lizard literally came running and jumped into the water under my board. And at that point, I thought it was a crocodile or an alligator or something. So obviously I panicked and I never, paddled that fast before. Out of the water, ran straight into the office telling her that there's a crocodile, um, which you can imagine the locals thought was hilarious because there's no crocodiles in Thailand. Um, so be aware of the massive lizards. Apparently, they also can go into, the 7-Elevens and stuff. If you look at some of the videos on the internet, it's crazy. But yeah, so I made a really good friend in that girl. We still keep in touch, and we met about 6 years ago. So yeah, that's definitely a very good memory for me. Um, but yeah, then after Bangkok, I changed location again after about a year, and I moved to Khon Kaen province. And in Khon Kaen, I actually changed from teaching kindergarten to teaching high school, which was also a big challenge for me because I love working with little kids. I've always gravitated towards the little children, babies, toddlers, you know. I love being active with them and running around and giving them piggyback rides and, going crazy to get all the energy out. So that's very different from teaching high school. Um, but the kindergarten students that I was teaching in Bangkok, that was at international level schools. And then the high school that I was placed at in Khon Kaen was not an international school. It was in a, you know, rural area there. And you could see that the people that lived in that area was also struggling with poverty and stuff a little bit. And the English proficiency of the high schoolers was, in all honesty, kind of similar to the kindergarteners that I had in Bangkok. Um, so, kind of just learning how to adapt my teaching style uh, to be able to actually help these high schoolers was a bit of a challenge at first. Um, but it actually surprised me. I did not think that I would enjoy teaching high school, but with the high schoolers, you could see which students really wanted to learn and they wanted to improve their lives and they wanted to go to university, that they would, for example, in their lunch times, they'd come to my table and they'd ask me about certain things and ask them how to say certain phrases in English. And it was a very heartwarming kind of feeling to see how I changed their lives by just allowing them to become more confident in their own English speaking skills in the short time that I was there. That it's a whole different feeling from teaching kindergarten. That's it has its benefits in its own ways, but yeah, teaching the high schoolers was definitely a good experience for me. But in the end of the day, I still prefer teaching the little ones. So I then moved to a different school in Khon Kaen, teaching kindergarten again. I see another question here. Did you feel like your salary covered your expenses, and how is the cost of living compared to home? Okay, so in my first few years in Thailand, um, it was a little bit difficult to get by with the salary that I was getting. Um, yeah, it's definitely doable, but you need to adapt your lifestyle to fit your income. Um, I was used to making more before I moved to Thailand, so the lifestyle that I was used to did not fit with the salary that I was getting in Thailand, but it's not really difficult to adapt and to make it work because you can get food for really, really cheap, and the street food is amazing. I know people always say don't buy from the street vendors because you're going to get Thai tummy and things like that, but I mean, in my 6 years that I was there, I probably got Thai tummy twice. And I actually think it wasn't even from street vendors, it was from restaurants. So do not listen to the people that say do not eat street food. Obviously, if you go to a place and the flies are swarming around and you can smell that it's like not fresh, then don't go there. Just be smart about it. But yeah, food wise, you can definitely get by with not spending a lot. Um, Accommodation. So while I was earning the low salary, I was living in a very basic room. It was literally one room with a bed and a toilet and a shower. And the shower was kind of just over the toilet. There was no kitchen. There was a little fridge. So it was very, very, very basic. Um, but then after about 3, 4 years, when I went to the international school in Konken, my salary basically tripled. So my lifestyle was adapted again. So then I was able to live in a condo with the big infinity pool on the roof and the fitness center inside, which was amazing. And it also allowed me to save more money. But yeah, like I said, it's definitely doable. You just need to adapt your lifestyle with what you're earning. And if you're okay with kind of just living the local way, then not earning a big salary really isn't a problem. I would say definitely make sure that you have really, really good international medical insurance if your school doesn't cover that for you. Because that was my biggest expense, was if I had to go to the hospital for something and I'm already making a low salary and the school doesn't, give me medical aid. That was where the hardships came in. But yeah, other than that, it's definitely doable to earn a low-ish salary compared to what you would make in Western countries. That kind of reminds me of one of the other big challenges that I had to face while I was in Thailand. So when I was still living in Bangkok, COVID happened. And when COVID happened and I couldn't work, I couldn't get paid either. So the school I was working with at that stage, while I was working through an agency, and the agency worked in a way of you get paid for what you teach. And during COVID, they also didn't go to online classes. So I was stuck in Bangkok. I was trying to get flights home. Couldn't get flights home because it was too late by then, and didn't have an income, had to still pay rent. Yeah, it was a very, very tough time, to be honest. I spoke to my landlady, who was a really sweet local woman, and I just kind of explained my situation to her, and she allowed me to, pay half of my rent for the duration of I think it was for 2 months that I was able to only pay half my rent. Obviously, we said we're just going to take it as it comes because no one knew how long COVID was going to last and the lockdown was going to last. But then when everything opened up again, I just obviously had to eventually give her the full amount. But having her compromise and having her, be nice about it, that I didn't have to give her the full amount, definitely helped a lot. Last question. What do you recommend to those planning to take the leap? It's the best way to prepare for this huge move. Just go. Don't overthink it. I mean, people that say they need to save money before they can do it. And then I look at people from back home that go out every weekend and spend a lot of money on, just basically drinking or, other things. It's definitely just a priority thing. So don't overthink it. If you want to do it, buy that ticket, get that internship, go. You'll make it work. Finances will sort itself out. If you're a hard worker and if you're dedicated and motivated and you want to make it happen, it's going to happen. Just go. The worst thing you can do is to keep postponing and saying, I'll do it next year, I'll do it next year, I'll do it next year, because then it's not going to happen. You're going to meet people that has the same mindset as you, and you're going to meet people that want to make it work and that might be struggling as well. And that's going to be your community. And, it's necessary for personal growth to just get out there and start doing it. And the difference that you make in these people's lives and the locals' lives, if you're able to teach them or to volunteer or to, share stuff about your home country, it's just incredible. And I cannot recommend going to teach in Thailand enough. And again, doing it through a company like Xplore Asia, like I did, where they kind of gave me my network and gave me my initial community and gave me the confidence to just, step out there and start teaching. Um, it was just amazing. And yeah, so my advice in short, I know I'm rambling on, is just go and start. Don't look back, just go and start. Life will sort itself out and you'll be very happy. Okay, so I do not have a lot of other questions anymore, so you're welcome. And I hope that me sharing my story helped someone to give them that, that little push they needed to get started with their journey. Good luck to anyone that is on their way to go. I'm sure you're going to love it. So yeah, bye.